Well, Greg, I remember when you and I were talking last time. You were talking about how the system is made on debt and how it has to have debt to sustain itself. And the minute that it stops printing debt, it implodes. Could you elaborate on that more for the people who may be listening or who will listen later on what you mean by that, and give them just a little insight to that, because a lot of people don't know that, because I talk to people and they don't understand that, and they don't know that.
No, we don't, because we don't have a commodity backed currency. When you lose the currency, we were supposed to have a gold standard, okay? And that's how this nation was set up. Our forefathers were smart enough to realize that we needed to have a commodity-backed currency. When it went to this fiat, what is it? Fiat means so let it be. That's what we have, fiat currency. This piece of paper, I'm going to draw some numbers on it, and that's what it's going to be worth. Once we went to that and it was taken over by the central banks, who now can just add digits to a screen, or before were able to do that, just print it out of thin air. Central banks produce debt. That's all they produce. They don't produce anything else. They manipulate and play with debt. That's all they do. The dollars that we work for, okay, we don't own these things with the pieces of paper with numbers printed on them. Okay, we work for the privilege to borrow these bills, just like our nation does, from the central bank or from wherever else they're going to borrow these from. Like the Treasury. The Treasury here sells. How does it work? The U.S. Treasury has to sell debt in order to fund itself. But who's the number one buyer of U.S. debt? The Federal Reserve. Okay, everyone knows this. But again, central banks produce one product, and that product is debt. The bills that we work for are not ours. We don't own them. They're owned by the issuing central bank, in this case, the Federal Reserve, and they're owed back to the issuing central bank, in this case, the Federal Reserve, plus interest they create out of nothing. It's amazing. So these are not units of wealth. These are not backed by anything. They're units of debt. They're IOUs. All those bills in your pocket and the zeros that you think are in your bank account, they're not yours. You work for the privilege to borrow them. That is all. People think it's theirs, but it's not. And that's how the debt-based economic model works. And the debt, in order to function, in order for the system to function, even at its current level, the debt must exponentially be increased. This is what creates inflation here. Henceforth, why, since the inception of the Federal Reserve, the U.S. dollar has now lost 98% of its purchasing power. 98, and they want it all. I mean, central banks collectively, I've been telling people this for 10 years, they're in a race to the bottom. They're trying to see who can devalue their currency faster. Again, because where does the central bank's power reside? We covered it already. In one thing, its ability to inflate, or its ability to issue debt. We take that away, central banking dies. If we can kill one central bank, just one, we will start a domino effect, and they'll all start to die. Why do you think, for example, there was this big debate during the debt ceiling? Oh, we got to raise it. Oh, we got to raise it. And you had Janet Yellen with that face. This is Janet Yellen's face. Imagine me with a bowl haircut. This is what she looks like to me. So you got, she's practically on her knees. Oh, please, we got to do, because she knew if we did not raise the debt ceiling, and the Federal Reserve would have started to die. And then that would have started, and within a matter of months, although it would have hurt the economy at first, it would have hurt the economy bad, because we were now we're still locked into this debt-based system. We would have had what's called a credit freeze. It would have locked up. No transactions. It would have been pretty traumatic, but then we could have built ourselves up out of it, and we could have killed the world central bank.